Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart. This is a kit in 1/35 scale and it copies Syrian T-34 85, so it's quite an interesting modification of the famous Soviet tank. And note that this is not an interior kit, it's a, let's say, interior-less kit, and it might be even more interesting for some others who don't want to spend their time painting and weathering the interior, which will be, as they say, hidden inside. So we have a commercial sample here, and it's a kit 37075. You will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video, and we are going to open it together and check what is actually supplied in this box and why this kit should be interesting for your next build in case you are searching for something to assemble in 1/35 scale. So first of all, box size is standard for Miniart. You can also note this nice box art, which is, I would say, might be a really nice poster. I wonder why they keep ignoring such an interesting topic, separate posters, or maybe included into the kit. Next, on the side here you can see some information about the manufacturer, also some safety advices and address of the manufacturer. On the opposite side you'll find 4 marking options which are included into this kit. So they are more or less standard, I would say, because it's just a green colored tank with some minor interesting elements on the turret. This is a top opening box, and inside, just give me a second to open it. So inside we have quite a tight fit. As you can see, it's almost flush with the top of the box, and all frames are packed into the same plastic bag. Here on the bottom we have assembly manual, so we are going to open this stuff one by one and check what is actually supplied here, why it should be interesting for you. So just give me a second to cut through, but in the meantime I would like to remind you that you can support us with a small donation. It's quite an easy thing to do because we have a special support DSV button on our website. And of course you are the one who will define how much we will get for a new kit or maybe for new photo and video equipment. But believe me, even the small donations are really important for us because they help us to, let's say, continue work on these video reviews, to check all the new kits and share this video and photo reviews with you. So let's move this box aside. And first of all, we have a small envelope with Miniart logo, and this one is usually used for PE parts, and today we do not have an exclusion from this rule. So inside there is a small unpainted PE thread which is wrapped into the clear film. As you can see, it should be easy to use. And here we have all the parts for external features, even various meshes, as you can see here. And the overall quality looks fine, but note that some parts are really thin, so they will require special tools such as, for example, PE bender, so that you can get the right, let's say, finish on your model. Next, I'm opening another plastic bag which was sealed, and it packed or packs decals and clear frames, so that's why I have to open it first. So here we have pair of identical plastic sprues, so I will show you only one because they are absolutely identical. Here it is, and maybe I'll place it like that. So here you'll find various periscopes and lenses for headlamps. Everything looks cool, there is nothing to worry about. The only thing which will be required from you is to mask all this stuff somehow, because there are no masks whatsoever supplied in this kit, so it means you will be on your own while working with these things. And next we have a decals sheet, so it is printed in decograph, and it is quite interesting because here we have a lot of hands which will be used for the camouflage of one of the marking options. Obviously the squares and triangles can be copied with masks, and maybe you can also try to copy this with a brush if you would like to get even more impressive appearance, but in my opinion they should be more than enough for out of the box build. So especially considering the nice printing quality, so I think some others will be fine with that. And we are going to start with a gray plastic sprue. That's one of the biggest here. Let's zoom out, and here you can see what we have here. So that means the top hull section, also lower panels for the lower side hull, and here we have a turret ring, and this special frame for the rear section, which will be housing the rear armor wall. So everything looks cool. Obviously you will have to drill holes in this top hull cover. You can see this special, let's say, guiding elements for the holes where you will have to drill them. So pay attention so that you drill the right ones, because there are some, let's say, additional items or additional holes for different versions of the tank. So it might happen that you will drill something wrong and then you'll have to fill it in somehow, so it will be some stuff to do, let's say. Next we continue with a smaller plastic sprue, so do not be surprised, we have some of the interior elements still supplied in the kit. They will be used in order to provide extra rigidity for the main hull, so you can't avoid it, but you don't have to paint them because they won't be visible on your model unless you try to expose them somehow. So I guess that's just a nice bonus which should be used. Okay. Next we continue with two identical plastic frames. These ones are dedicated to mix of various parts, so here you can see that we have spare tracks, also some Pioneer tools and headlamps. Everything looks cool, so it's just a matter of careful installation on your model and you will be fine with it. And we can move to the next parts. So I guess that's the new plastic sprue for the Syrian version, because here we have all the necessary parts for the machine gun installation on the turret. As you can see, this special, let's say, bracket, which will be housing the machine gun, and everything looks cool. This is a typical machine gun from Miniart, so it's just a matter of careful assembly and painting and you'll have a nice result in 1/35 scale. And I think we can continue with next elements. For example, main gun, which is also supplied on the separate sprue. And what is cool here is that we have one piece barrel. As you can see, you won't have to assemble it out of separate parts. And note that there are some, let's say, parts of the interior section are also copied, but they won't be visible unless you open the turret hatches. Next we continue with road wheels. And there are many frames with road wheels, I guess. No, these are actually absolutely the same. So it means we get one road wheel pair on each frame. And just to show you how many of them, here you can check it. And I will place one like that. So here we have one piece road wheels. Obviously there are no painting templates or any other stuff inside, so you will have to be careful while painting these rubber sections. And I think they look fine, so it's just a matter of careful painting and weathering of these parts, and you will have a really nice thing on your tank. Next we have idlers, so just give me a second, I will take them here and show them to you. So they should be also assembled out of two parts, and be careful because inside we have alignment elements and they will actually help you to guide them together. Next we continue with tensioners. These ones are smaller, but they are also assembled out of two hulls, so it will be something to work on. And now we can continue with the fuel tank parts. So these ones might be familiar to you if you checked previous reviews with the previous boxings of this tank. As you can see, it's a one-piece part which should be combined with the side panels, which are molded separately. There are also some, let's say, handles pre-molded, so they look more or less fine, and it's just a matter of bringing them out, let's say. Next we continue with more fuel tank parts. They are supplied on 3 sprues. Here you can see it. And here we have again a matter of assembly these two hulls together. Then we have a separate stands. And of course front and rear parts, they're also separate. So that's just easy stuff. And I would say that's a classic parts division for this set. Or for this part. We also have storage boxes, so I will show them from both sides because they are absolutely identical plastic sprues. And again we have this special recessed slots which will help you with alignment of these parts together. Next we continue with 2 plastic sprues which are dedicated to exhausts and exhaust covers and also towing cable parts. So here you can see them. And do not forget that we are dealing with an interior-less version, so it means there is no engine, and it means this exhaust will be just, let's say, flying inside the tank. Here we continue with air vents for the engine bay. Everything looks cool in my opinion. And it might be a good opportunity to play with washes on your model. Next we have 4 identical plastic frames which are dedicated to minor elements. So here they are. And again, everything looks cool, but be careful with thin parts. Maybe it would be a wise idea to replace them completely with a metal wire. And here we have again some small parts which will be used here and there. Basically these are lifting hooks for turret, as far as I remember. Now I am trying to count how many sprues we have here for the suspension part. So here they are. I will place one beside it. There are 4 frames of this type, and as you can see they look quite nice. So I think we do not have a movable suspension here, but still it would be a good thing to copy. As for the tracks, well, here we have quite an interesting situation, but first I would like to show you these 2 sprues because they carry parts for road wheels. Basically these are road wheel caps. As you can see, they will have to be installed on the top of your road wheels. Next we continue with the track parts. So I will show them you in a second. So tracks are separated into 2 types. Here we have the first portion of the first type, and here you can check them in a detail. I will try to zoom it in. So these are basic wafer tracks from T-34, and it's really cool to get them as a plastic part, not as a vinyl or something else. The only thing which might be real, let's say, is that the whole assembly process will be a bit tedious, but I mean that's the price of separate track links in your model. Here, by the way, you can see the different types. So this one is dedicated to the section with, as you can see, teeth in the middle. Next we continue with, just give me a sec, a bit bigger plastic sprue. This one is dedicated to turret parts, so I won't be zooming out. Here we have a main turret section molded as a single piece part. Next we continue with the top and bottom panels, which are molded separately, and of course all the hatches are separate here. And next we continue with some thin parts for fine details, but obviously all hatches are molded separately, so you can open them on your model and expose what is inside. Well, basically there is nothing inside because we do not have an interior here, but it can be handy for figures, I would say. Next we continue with some parts for the engine deck. So as you can see, it should be assembled out of separate panels, and we have also glacis plate and a rear armor plate molded as a separate one-piece parts. Here you can see also bottom of the lower hull section, towing cables, and of course fenders for the front section. Everything looks cool, so it's just a matter of aligning them together. So be careful and do not hurry, because this design demands some due care, but it should be relatively easy to assemble. Just do not hurry. Next we continue with assembly manual. So this one is printed in form of typical Miniart brochure. I will close the lenses a bit so that it won't be that bright. And as you can see, we have short list of the features on the cover. And next we continue with 2 marking options. This one comes from early 1960s. This one is from summer 1967. And here we have parts map. As usual, Miniart does not show which parts are unused. Assembly process starts with the lower hull section, and here, by the way, you can see installation of these internal elements into the hull. And next we start working on the glacis plate, where you will have to drill some holes as well, so pay attention to that. And what is next? Some spare tracks. You start working on the top hull section, and here, by the way, you can see that you are drilling the holes again. You assemble the fuel tanks, then you install all this stuff on the lower hull section. You assemble the rear armor plate, install various hatches which are separate, and then you start assembling the engine bay cover, which also features separate slats and also this P part which would have to be bent into the right shape. Next we continue with the front fenders. We also have special supports for fuel tanks and for Pioneer tools. Here you can see towing cables. And what is next? So fuel tanks should be held in place with help of PE parts. Be ready for this thing as well. Next we continue with assembly of road wheels and tensioners and idlers. Here we assemble tracks, so it's 72 parts together. And next we start building the turret. So as you remember, turret also has some internal elements, but that doesn't mean that we have interior here, and it should be also quite an easy thing to assemble. I don't think you'll have any issues here. That's the special machine gun stand, which is typical for a Syrian tank. As you can see, it will be installed right on the turret. And in total you have to perform 71 step. Here we continue with more marking options. This one is from summer 1967. This one is from October 1973. And that's all. Here we have two other kits which we reviewed before. You can find it easily on our YouTube channel. And as for the whole kit, you can get it in Modelimex, for example. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!